hi guys. I'm Nicole Zelka. I am from Albany, New York, and currently here now quarantining. And I am currently on a break from the second national Charlie and the Chocolate Factory tour. Um, we were in Grand Rapids, Michigan when this all kind of went down. And originally we were supposed to go to St. Louis for 2 weeks, and that was kind of the first place that canceled us. But then for those 2 weeks, we had a company meeting. Like the first week, we were all back home, and they were like, "Okay, so this is done for the remainder of the year." So we were actually supposed to close last Sunday, but they are planning on going back out in the fall. So as of now, yeah, we're going out the beginning of December. We're opening in Austin, Texas. So fingers crossed for that.
Have there been, I mean, obviously, everything changing nowadays. Is there any precautions you guys are taking, if you guys do open up in December, like are the theaters going to be smaller? Have you guys had that conversation with the company?
Yeah, we haven't heard anything from the producers about the big picture of all those things, but I do like some when this all started happening, there was like a month or two that we weren't allowed to stage door or anything, or people who were not involved in the company or the crew, the local crew, were not allowed backstage. So we had been taking precautions with this since like mid-February. But we haven't heard anything for the next year now.
Right on, right on. So, oh, fingers crossed. We need theater. I don't know
Yeah.
about you. I
Now more than
miss theater. I miss theater, and yeah,
I know.
now more than ever because
Yeah,
we need to hear those stories. But
totally.
so where did you go to college, if I may ask? Like, did you study musical theater? Like, where did you
Yeah,
base yourself for college?
there's it's all right. So I grew up doing this. I kind of started because my older sister was doing it for fun in school, but I ended up taking it a lot more seriously and pursued community theater around the area. Albany, New York is where I'm from. But I kind of went into my senior year of high school knowing that I was gonna do the whole audition and musical theater college program craziness. And I auditioned at I think like 5 schools only, which is not a lot for uh, belters or anyone in general. I know a lot of people do like 14 plus. And I was rejected from every single program. And I got in academically everywhere, but not the program. So I was pretty set on not going to a school that I didn't want to be, like I wasn't in the correct program for. So May 1st came around and I had no idea where I was going. So then I auditioned at AMDA in New York City. I don't know why I hadn't looked at that prior. I think it was because I was looking up to so many people who had the path of, a 4-year university, musical theater BFA, and then you're set. And I think um, not that it turned me away, but I feel like at that moment I was like, this is the only way to be successful and be successful in the ways that I want to be successful. So when that all didn't work out, I went to AMDA and I auditioned at the New York City campus, and I fell in love with it. And I got in. And May 17th, I put my deposit down. So even if I didn't get in, I don't know where I would have done. I think I probably would have taken a gap year. But so that program, I did the 2-year musical theater program, and I did it in 2 years. I didn't go through the summer. I took my summer off, and your last semester there, all of your classes are at night, like 5 p.m. and to 11 p.m. And so they encourage you to go out and audition. And that's when I booked Cinderella.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So transitioning from, performing in college, is there like a certain way that like to get noticed by casting directors or agents for, any type of show? Like how do you get noticed out of college?
Like when I was like during AMDA when I was auditioning for like Cinderella or other things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think the best part about going to school in the city is you like adapt to it way faster than say someone who goes to school. At the end of the day, we all just want to be in New York City auditioning for big projects. That's where we all want to end up eventually, most of us. So I think going to school there is kind of like a couple steps forward, rather than someone who is in the middle of Oklahoma or whatever. So while I was in school, actually, I don't think I was allowed to do this, but I did it anyway. I wanted to take advantage of being in the city. So I ended up taking a lot of private lessons with other people outside of AMDA and like other
Mm.
musical theater, like audition technique classes. And I got my face in front of people who I wasn't getting my face in front of at school. And I am the type of learner that needs to be in a classroom and watching other people. Like that's just how I learn. I learn from other people. And even stepping into a studio for an open call, seeing how people are dressing or what they're like singing, that's a lesson in itself. So that's exactly what I did fourth semester. When I finally was able to attend these auditions, I kind of just went to as many as I knew I was right for. And some I went to and I was like, I don't know about this, but I'll go anyway. And it's really just, you learn while you do kind of thing. That I feel like that's the only, no musical theater program can teach you what it's like to audition in New York City. You just kind of have to do it, and you learn.
Yeah, absolutely. So that got you into Cinderella, the national, the what that was that the first national tour, or the second national tour?
So the first national tour was Union. It was the Equity Tour, and then it had that. I think that had been out for like maybe 2 years, and then they did the first year of it non-union, and then I did the second year of it non-union.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, you book Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Yes. So actually, I had closed that second non-union company of Cinderella. I think it was July in Florida of 2018. And then my plan was to come back here for the summer, be a human again, not live out of a suitcase, and then be back in the city in the fall and hit the ground running with auditions again. Because I had never lived, I mean, right out of school, I did the tour. So I had never really lived in New York City, not being a student, and just, worked and auditioned. So that was going to be my first step into that. And I had gotten representation after Cinderella. So I was ready to kind of hit the ground running with that. And for a year, yeah, fall 2018 and all of 2019, I had not booked a job at all. I wasn't getting callbacks. I wasn't, I don't know. I don't know what was happening to me. I felt like I was rusty. I kind of felt like, with this one tour credit, I would be on top of the world and I couldn't wait for my next gig, but it did not happen like that. And it was a really big learning experience. And it's so funny. My mom asked me the other day, she was like, I was thinking, did you wish that you signed on for the last year with Cinderella? Because they had went out one more time. And I was like, no, because I wouldn't have learned the hardships of being a New York City actor. I was nannying on the side, going to auditions in the morning, and feeling yucky about myself. And then I had come home last summer to do a show at a regional house in Albany, which I highly recommend always with your local theaters that are hire professional actors. It looks so good that you're local. It's just that you're an easy hire and you get to work with older people who have been in the business far longer than you. And again, like I said, that's how I learn from watching these amazing women who have been in the industry for 15 plus years and are just amazing. So I'd come home, did that, and then I was like, all right, back to the city for another audition season that I don't feel great about, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I had been in for Charlie like 8 times for this, and I had kept getting really close for different tracks, and then my representation had been like, yep, didn't work, whatever. So I kind of had gotten over it. And then the Friday before they had set to start rehearsals for this new company, I got a quick appointment for it because someone had dropped, and this audition was on a Friday and they were starting rehearsals next week on a Thursday. And I went in and they were like, "Hi, Nicole, like, welcome back. Just show us what you got. Like, we know what you can do." And I booked it. It was very crazy. I had signed my contract literally a day before rehearsals. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the craziness, like you said, of you've kind of experienced the craziness of being a New York City actress.
Yeah,
You
totally.
didn't work for a while, and then eight plus rounds of
Yeah.
auditions for a new. Wow, that's crazy.
I know. And it's so weird. I remember walking in on the first day of rehearsal for Charlie and everyone being like, "Oh my God, like I got my script and my score in the mail like a month ago. I had known I couldn't wait to start rehearsals," because so many people had known that they booked it and then had to work at their side hustle for a month or two because rehearsals weren't starting until the end of November. But I was like, I signed my contract yesterday. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing here, but give me a name tag and I'm ready to go. So
Did you ever have any conversation with some previous actors and actresses from the first tour that like gave you all some advice, maybe through rehearsals and
yeah,
any kind of stuff like
actually,
that?
one of the, I forget his name. He was in the ensemble of the first national, and he had come in to teach us to how to maneuver the Oompa Loompas. Um, yeah, so he gave us a lot of great advice on that. And then, but
Go
also,
ahead. Wait. Go ahead and explain exactly what the Oompa Loompas are for
gosh,
people
well,
that don't know.
they're a surprise, but
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
it's it's quite,
It's crazy.
yeah,
It's creative. It's never. I don't think I've ever seen something that crazy and unique on
it's
a
a blast.
theater
That's the best
stage.
part of the show every night is the audience reaction. No matter where we are, they get a kick out of it. But our creative team was still very involved from, I mean, they were the original Broadway creative team. So they had given us all great advice on, the road. And it was so funny to be on tour again. And I just remembered my 19-year-old self starting rehearsals for Cinderella being like, what am I doing? How do you tour? How do you do any of this? And then I'm 22 now, and I started rehearsals for Charlie, and everyone was like, "This is my first," and I was like, "I know how to live out."
So obviously, with the new way the theater's going to be, you know, after COVID, hopefully, we get things back to normal soon when it comes to auditioning and stuff. There's a lot of self taping that's going to be the new audition style. What is some advice you can give to people looking to that maybe graduated college or graduated high school and are looking to audition during these, or maybe not right now, this second, but once casting season starts up again, and knowing that most of it's going to be self tapes and virtual meetings.
Totally. Definitely invest in good lighting. Um, Amazon is your best friend for those ring lights. But cell phones, I record all my self tapes on my phone. It's good quality. The iPhone is solid. Um, but I will say, look up as many. I know so many small and big, like musical theater businesses in New York City, that I think my biggest advice to anyone who is making their first steps into New York City is taking class at, I grew up, but I have been an avid student at actor therapy. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, with Ryan Scott Oliver and Lindsay Mendez. Since AMDA, that was one of the classes I was taking during school. The Growing Studio is great. There's so many resources for actors to get in the room in front of these working performers or casting directors. And these classes, especially with casting directors or agents or managers or whatever, that's how they meet you. I mean, you can go to as many auditions in front of a Telsey casting director, and they'll begin to start seeing your headshot in your face and being like, "Oh yeah, Logan, like we remember him." But it's even better when you're working one-on-one with them in an audition studio, working on a 16-bar cut that you usually sing with them. They could coach you through it, and then they're like, "Oh yes, I had him in my Growing Studio class. He was great to work with. Let's give him a call back." So I think taking class is one of the, again, that's how, like I said before, that is how you start meeting these people in the industry.
Networking sounds like it's a
Yes.
big thing, and that's obviously be nice to everybody, in this
Yes.
business. But thank you for the advice on the New York side. Now a little bit for the story part. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. What's it like being in that show? Like that's just I saw it when it was in LA. I saw it 3 times.
You did?
I loved it. I loved it. I wish I saw but unfortunately the second tour didn't come through. But when the
Yeah.
first tour came through, I was dying. Like
It's
it was so different than any show I've seen. So what's it like being in that production?
Yeah, so it's so interesting because I hadn't seen it on Broadway, and um I didn't know anything about it. I knew it was a very big hit in London. Um and I remember when it was coming to Broadway, there were so many talks of it being so different than the London production, which it is. If you look up videos of the London production, it is like very far different from what we do to this day. Um but it's the kookiest show. I mean, I it's so funny too because I hate to brag, but I was Willy Wonka in 8th grade in the middle school. So when I
Oh my
got it,
gosh.
my parents were like, "Oh my god, like it's so weird." But I play one of the grandparents in the bed. I'm Grandma Georgina, and I were in the bed the entire show, entirety of Act One. So that's fun, and you definitely get close. But this company is like I've never worked with such good people before in my life. We're literally all obsessed with each other. So when this all hit, we were super bummed to not, um, you know, continue. But I know a lot of people are still coming back for the third year, like the same crew. So that's good. But yeah, it's so interesting to see so many different people's reactions because everyone comes in I feel to that show and they know exactly what's going to happen based on the movies, but it's totally different. It's totally different. And the heart of it, and like, I don't know, our creative team, our director, Jack O'Brien, always says, like, the wonder behind it. And it's so true. It's like the magic and the wonder behind this little boy who all of the Charlies are amazing, but it's just so fun watching the story through these talented young boys' lives. I don't know. It's very heartwarming and it's fun and you feel the audience's energy every night.
Absolutely. When I saw it, my high school was doing The Music Man, and
Oh,
we just wrapped up, and I remember a lot of people in our ensemble saying that Willy Wonka has that same type of charm and he has the ability to win people over, and I think
yes.
that's what's so powerful about the story. I don't want to reveal anything because, and I'm supposing neither do you, but
Yeah.
he just wins you over, in the show. He's just so creative, and I think that the modern, that's all I'll say, is the more modern writing of it, I think is, I'm sure you can agree with me, is just so fun and just you can follow along with it really easily, I think.
Clever. Yeah.
So yeah, with
Totally.
and
Agreed.
especially with you said stage door, that's a big part of performing, and you guys unfortunately had that taken away from you because of COVID, which smart was a smart move to do. But
Yeah.
what is it like? I know a lot of kids go to the stage door, and they like, I want to be on the other side signing the playbills. What's it like being the person signing those playbills on the other side of the fence?
Yeah. So actually I'll never forget the first time did that for like a big amount of people. We were in San Diego with Cinderella. Um because prior we had stage doored and but I feel like we had went to smaller venues that didn't have such like an extravagant like, bar like fences up or whatever, barricades up, whatever. Um so I feel like that was the first theater that there was a crowd at the end of the show. And I remember coming back, like doing it and being like, doing my thing, but then walking away from it and going back to my hotel and being like, whoa, I was literally those people not even 3, 5 years ago. I mean, I grew up going to shows in my area at our theater that tours would come into and totally geek out. And I would do it when I was younger, going to the city and seeing Broadway shows. And um, I don't know, it was a weird feeling of being like, whoa, I know exactly what they mean when the show changed their life, or this show made them want to do theater. It's very special. And it was the same feeling on Charlie when we had people come up. It's very special.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
amazing. Like
it's the
I
best part. It's one of
no,
the best parts of the job.
oh, absolutely. Uh, I ask everyone I have on the show this question. Obviously, you do perform 8 times a week on tour. Mental health, big thing,
Totally.
and physical health, big thing. Doing a show 8 times a week. What are some tips? Maybe not just from Cinderella, or excuse me, from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but also that you had with Cinderella that kind of helped you get through, the 8 show weeks.
Yeah. So I think my biggest thing is, I mean, it really depends on the person, but I learned uh, kind of at the end of Cinderella and really used it towards Charlie is it's okay to just hang out by yourself. I feel like we all do it uh, in regular life and in our homes, and it's kind of comes normal to all of us when we're like, okay, I need a minute. I'm going to shut the door to my bedroom and just be for a second. Um, and on tour, it's a little different because your company is the people you travel with every day. You go to work with them every day. You live with them a lot of the times. I mean, all the time, basically. Um, and in any other job, we are able to get away from work, but on tour, it's different because you almost feel like you're always working because you're around the same people all the time. So yeah, at the end of Cinderella, I was finally like giving myself moments during the day to be like, okay, I'm going to go to this coffee shop by myself. I'm not going to ask my friends to go with me because it's okay to hang out by myself. And I'm going to sit on my computer and do work. And I think I did that all the time on Charlie. And or I personally found like my person on Charlie, and we are very similar. Jenna, who is Grandma Josephine, which is like, thank God we don't hate each other because we're literally attached at the hip for the whole show. But we would do things all the time, and our friend Alicia, we kind of formed a bond, but also valued the time by ourselves. And if one person was just like anti-social for the moment, we'd be like, cool, bye, like we'll meet up with us later, text us when you're feeling it. So yeah, I think alone time and like you time is the most important thing. But that's the most important thing for anything that people do. um what else I think, yes, exercising is very important. I kind of like lost that a bit on Charlie. I wasn't doing it at all during Cinderella because my track was not really physically demanding, and I regret not doing that. I was also young, and I wish I could like slap my 19-year-old self in the face because of some of the things I thought was okay. Not vocally warming up, big no no.
Ooh,
I know. I was like, I don't really sing a lot, but then I started feeling it at the end, and I was like, you need to be a smart actor. But it's all about doing and learning, like I've said before. And uh, yeah, warming up is super important. Just warming up your body in general is, even if you just need to stretch. I mean, I feel like when I have been told to warm up my body, it seems so physical and like a physical activity, but literally just like stretching is the best. I actually have realized during quarantine that I am obsessed with running. I used to run all the time when I was younger, but I kind of stopped. And I've been running lately, and then like practicing singing some of things because I'm like, I should probably sing a little bit during this quarantine. And I've noticed a huge difference in just my vocal quality and my presence while after like having your body like just sweat and get those endorphins out. It's the best feeling. So yeah, I think that is it.
some awesome words. Really,
Yeah.
really appreciate it. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for coming on. I wish
Oh
I
my God,
could.
we're done. I was so nervous.
I know. Why are you nervous?
I
It's
know.
two theater people talking about awesome fun. You know what I mean? We need theater back. I think especially in times right now, we just need theater back. You know,
Absolutely.
it's a big community. But really appreciate you coming on, and
God, thanks for
you
having me.
stay safe, and it's good news. Happy non-closing of Charlie.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
But hopefully it gets. I wish I knew you. Probably, I'm sure you guys don't know the new. You probably know the new tour route, but I wish, hopefully you guys come down through SoCal and we can
Yes.
see you.
Me too. Me too.
It's good weather down here.
Yes. It's the best. I loved LA. It was my first time there when I went.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you get to come back. I think it's. But thank you so much for coming on. Take care of yourself. Take care of your fam. Take care of everybody. Stay safe.
Thank you. You too.
Absolutely. Nice meeting you, I guess.
Yes, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. Be sure to check us out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Follow us on Instagram at Campfire Series Podcast for awesome updates and just a good time. We'll see you next week. I'm Logan Sofarenko, signing off.